So, Sharon, hi. Well, listen, this is what I've done. Okay, I've been planning this now for the last week and a half. It's just taken me a little time to get it together. So, I don't have a guinea pig so that I could use for this buyer presentation. However, I'm going to do a mock one. And I put together the presentation. And so I just want to talk it through, and then I'm going to get into it. So what I did is I created a questionnaire. Okay, it's an 18-question questionnaire that the buyer will receive when they come to the office, and then I'm going to have the opportunity to review that before I actually sit down with them. So I have an understanding as to what they're looking for and a little bit about them. And then I'm going to start the buyer consult. Also, during the buyer consult, I've given them actually the format, and I'm going to have them fill in the blanks with me as we go. This way, I believe that if they're more involved, I think it keeps them interested, and it makes them understand the process a little bit better. Okay, and I've also have here the exclusive buyer agency. And I'm going to get into that at the end. So with that said, I'm just going to start this presentation as if I'm sitting down with somebody. And so there's going to be some areas where it's going to be kind of off a little bit because I'm not going to get a response, but you can kind of fill in the blanks there, okay? So with that said, I'm going to start my buyer presentation. So, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, thank you very much for coming in today. I've had an opportunity to review your questionnaire. And I see you, are local residents, and you have some interesting things that you've indicated on some of the questions. You love the outdoors. Your family is very important to you. So these are things we're going to get into as we go through this presentation. So I put together what's called a 7-step approach to buying a house. So we're going to touch base on everything today, everything from the understanding the market, the financing side, everything involved when it comes down to putting a contract together, right down to how we're going to represent you and getting this home closed for you. Does that sound good so far? Excellent. So there's various types of homes on the market. There are single family homes, there's townhouses, there's new construction, and there's investment properties. And we'll talk about some of your needs based on the questionnaire that you've put together. So understanding the market. We believe as real estate professionals that you can approach this one of two ways, either as a salesperson or as a consultant. And I believe that we need to approach this from the consultative approach. And what I mean by that is, we don't believe that you as a buyer, want to be pressured into making a buying decision, do you? So we come from it from the angle that we want to give you all your options that are available to you so you can make an informed decision on what you're buying. And right now, in our present marketplace, we have an average list price right now. The buyers are paying, on average, almost 96% of what the houses are being listed for. So if you don't mind, if you can just, write in the 95.9%. This is as of the end of August, and buyers are paying on average 95.9%, or basically it's what the seller negotiates to you on average. So for example, if you bought a house at $300,000 and the average list price to sales price ratio is 95.9%, the seller is basically stating that they're not interested in going any lower than $287,700. So let me just kind of paint this picture for you. You see, I would rather turn you down right now than to disappoint you later if you think you can come in at a lower price and expect to get this house. Does that make sense to you? Sure. So, in addition, our listing inventory right now is down 6.7% from the same time last year. And what typically happens when inventory is down? Typically, demand goes up. And when demand goes up, what usually happens to prices? Prices usually go up as well. However, on the flip side, when demand goes down, prices typically go down as well. You see, we're in, right now, a seller's market. And what you want from a buyer's agent, you want somebody to negotiate on your behalf. Isn't that correct? So whether you're in a buyer's market or in a seller's market, you want somebody that's going to be able to put you in competition with the other buyers that are competing against the same property. And because we're in a seller's market here in our area, we want to make sure that we present your contract with the best possible light so that we can ensure the greatest return for you in becoming a homeowner. Does that make sense? So how we do this is basically this. We believe that the most important step in this whole process is the pre-approval. And getting that established it's like putting a house together as foundation. Without the foundation, everything else doesn't matter. Would you agree? So let me just give you an example. Let's just say, for example, you called me up, and let's say you're a homeowner, and you needed to sell a house, and you were being relocated to South Carolina for a job, and you needed to leave yesterday. So we priced the house aggressively so we can get as much activity. And let's say within a couple of days we get two offers. The first offer comes in, say the house is listed at $400,000, and the first house offer comes in at $398,000, but it's an all-cash offer. And then the second offer comes in over asking, $402,000. However, that person has not yet sat down with a lender. Which of the two offers do you think is going to be best suited for you? Yes, of course, it's going to be the cash offer. So in essence, what happens is when you're pre-approved, you in essence become a cash buyer. And when you become a cash buyer, you save yourself money, and it gives you leverage in a multiple offer situation. You see, you know what else it does, the pre-approval does? It gives you and I the confidence knowing that every home that I show you, you have the ability to buy. Now, isn't that a great position to be in? You know, we believe in buyer's agency. You know, we're 100% of our clients choose buyer's agency. The average list price to sales price ratio, as I mentioned earlier, was 95.9%. Now, my averages this year, through the first week in October, are coming in at 96.59%, and that's in today's market. So, for example, on a $100,000 purchase, my average price is coming in just under 1% higher because of the activity in our marketplace. So on a typical $100,000 purchase, my buyers are paying on average about $690 more. And on a $300,000 purchase, my buyers are paying just under $2,100 more. Now you might be saying to yourself, geez, are we going to be paying more for a house? Now these are just averages, of course, okay? However, if you want to be a homeowner in this market, you also want to have the ability for somebody who understands the market, as I do, to negotiate on your behalf to put your best foot forward. We won't overpay for a home, but we certainly are not going to be underpaying for a house in our marketplace. So we just want to make sure that you become a homeowner, because that is why you're here today, correct? So you want somebody to have the ability to negotiate for you in a buyer and in a seller's market. What we also do for you as far as part of our program in buyer's agency, we put you on what's called our BIN system, which is the Buyer Instant Notification System. The minute a home hits the market that meets the criteria that we've set, based on the questionnaire and based on our conversation, you get notified immediately. This way, you have the greatest chance to look at the house and put an offer in if this home suits all your needs, okay? And we basically, because what we do here as buyer's agents, there's a good likelihood that I've probably seen several of the homes that you may be interested in. And don't be surprised that maybe the first house you look at might actually be the house that you fall in love with. However, you know, the good thing about working with someone from a buyer's agency standpoint is that we're able to gather a lot of data on this property, everything that you may not have access to, whether it be tax-related information, information about the homeowner, why are they selling, is it a divorce, are they going into foreclosure, are they relocating? So there's a lot of information that we gather for you so that we prepare you for the home that you're about to view and possibly put an offer on. And the beauty about this whole thing is that all the fees are paid by the seller. You also, during your travels, while you're out there looking for homes, you may come across a sign or maybe an ad on Craigslist, for sale by owners. You know, I respect all the for sale by owners out there, you know, to try to sell their home on their own, try to save some money. But are they really saving money? I'm going to give you an example. Let's say, for example, you call up a for sale by owner and you think that you're going to be getting a great deal because you're dealing directly with the owner. And let's say you're under contract and the property is escrowed, and suddenly there's a snag in the financing. See, when you work with a for sale by owner, you have to have legal representation. The owner has to have legal representation. And when you hire an attorney to represent you, that attorney is going to charge you about $150 to $200 an hour for their work. So this deal falls apart for this seller. Guess what happens? This money that they tried to save, they didn't save anything. All of a sudden, now they have a bill for about $3,000, maybe $3,500 that they have to pay, which, had they worked with the broker in the first place, we would have absorbed that cost, and it would have been significantly lower in this situation. So if you do see a sign by a for sale by owner, I want you to give me a call, because I represent you 100% even during those transactions. I'm not going to get into the new home build process at this point. If you are interested in delving into building a new home, we'll certainly discuss it. But if you do decide to build a home, I have these open guest house passes that I will give to you. This way you present it to the salesperson on duty at these homes that you're going to visit, these model homes. And this way they know that you're working with a real estate agent and that all communication comes through us. Shopping for your home. You know, we find that here in our marketplace, here in the Buffalo, Niagara region, that the average buyer looks at about 12 homes before finding the right one. And the most important key to finding the right home quickly is your feedback. You see, what we do is, as we start looking at homes, we start getting an understanding as to what you're interested in. What are the things that matter to you? And so the feedback that you provide to us is going to be essential for us to be able to get you that home that you really desire. We enter then, once you find that house, we enter into now the contractual phase of this process. We enter into the contract. The contract will then be reviewed in its entirety. But because New York is an attorney state, we're not a title state, everything is done through an attorney. So we have to hire an attorney that's going to represent you. And the average cost for an attorney here in our area, the Buffalo Niagara region, is on average someplace between $550 and $600. It's certainly a lot less than that for sale by owner that just paid $3,500. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. So once the attorney phase is done, I'm going to come back to this escrow here in a moment. We then begin what's called the inspection phase of the house. We hire an inspector. An average cost for an inspector here in our area is someplace between $300 and $350. They come in, they do a full inspection, and they evaluate the property. Now, an inspection, and please write this down, an inspection is for major items only. And let me just give you an example. You see, a home inspection is not designed as a renegotiation tool of a contract. A home inspection is designed to bring the condition of the home to your attention. So for example, let's say we walk into this house and after we enter into contract and we do a home inspection, the inspector determines, let's say, that the furnace has a slight problem. Maybe the burners aren't working, or maybe they had some CO2 levels that were of some concern to him. The seller has advised us on the property condition disclosure statement that they don't have any problems with their heating system. So what we do to protect you as a buyer, we then hire an HVAC contractor to come out and give us their professional evaluation. If in fact they determine that there is problems with that furnace that are not repairable, that's a major item. And it's a major item because A, it's also a safety concern. because a furnace that emits CO2 is a safety concern. So that's where we go to bat for you. That's a major item. Does that make sense so far? Very good. So once you're happy with the results of the home inspection, then what we do is we're going to ask you to put down money in escrow. And typically escrow money is about 2% of the total purchase price. So let's say, for example, you bought a house for $100,000. After the inspection is done and you're happy and you want to move forward, we're going to ask you for about $2,000 to hold that contract. Does that make sense? Okay, very good. So once we get into this phase, then we're going to start the next phase of this process is the mortgage application phase. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to contact your lender of choice. And today you came to me as a pre-approved lender, buyer from M&T Bank. If you were not pre-approved today, I would then have you sit down with one of our in-house financial consultants, and they would go through the whole mortgage process with you and to get you pre-approved. The pre-approval process, since you are pre-approved, basically you're going to call your lender and you're going to make mortgage application, and the lender then is going to order an appraisal. Now the cost to you as a buyer, the average cost for an appraisal here in our area is about $375. So go ahead and just write that down on your sheet there. Okay. Now the best part about going through this process is that you won't overpay for the property. And what I mean by that is that the bank appraiser has to go out to the property and make sure that the property is worth what we put an offer in it for. Now, of course, as a buyer's agent, what I've already done is I have already determined the price of that home based on the market conditions and based on what's actually sold. So we feel pretty confident that the price that we have on this contract should appraise without any difficulty. However, if a situation should arise with the appraisal, we'll address it at that point, okay? See, today, you're sitting down with me and you're pre-approved. However, there's a difference between being pre-approved, which is what you are today, and receiving a full loan commitment. So once you make the mortgage application and once the appraisal process is complete, then it's the bank's responsibility to administer to you what's called mortgage commitment. That means that the bank has committed to you a full, they've committed the mortgage to you, and now you go from being pre-approved to having full loan commitment. So congratulations to you as a buyer, okay? You know, there's a lot of benefits when you work with us and our team, okay? You're always going to be working with a specialist, myself. You're also going to be part of our team, because as a team, we have an entire office of agents, our staff, of people that are here to help throughout this process. So you're not alone, okay? See, the benefits are you receive knowledge, our availability, and communication. You see, in a typical world, everything revolves around the company. You see, but here, what we believe is that you, the client, are the center of our universe, and everything else channels off of it. The realtor, the attorney, the broker, the inspector, everybody else channels around it. You're always our first priority, okay? And my role is to get you the very best price possible. That is what you want after all, correct? Absolutely. We also want to get you to the closing table with the fewest hassles possible. The fewer the hassles, the easier the process flows, which is why we're here today. And we definitely want to do it within the time frame that you desire. Does that make sense so far? Okay, very good. You know, and one of the other things that we believe in as well is, you know, we don't believe that you're just a one-time sales transaction. You see, selling is what we do. However, we want to make sure that you have the greatest experience so that you're happy with the end result. So that you're going to be so comfortable that you're going to pick up the phone and call us and say, you know what, we'd like to give you a referral because we had such an awesome experience with you as a buyer, as a buyer's agent. And I find that when you're in the market for a home, suddenly your neighbors are in the market or your cousin's in the market. And before you know it, you have presence of other people that are looking to buy a house. So my question to you would be this: who do you know right now who's looking to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate? I thank you for taking the opportunity to think about that. You see, I want to just say one other thing. With your permission, because periodically this is what I'm going to do, and I need your permission to grant me this. As you're going along throughout the year, you might come across somebody at your church or at the park with your kids or at a family event, or maybe somebody on social media who suddenly is thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Would it be okay with you if I called you to ask you for a referral? Thank you, I appreciate that. You know, and the other thing that you get from us is after the transaction is closed, we provide you with various recommendations. We provide you with recommendations on moving companies, companies that we've already vetted, that are reliable, that would help you with this process. Because that is, you know, something that can be a burden. So we're going to help you by providing you with those recommendations. You're also going to get various benefits from our allied resources, and including some of our past clients who have become our partners in various areas. You're also going to get a nice housewarming gift. You're also going to get a thank you gift for any referrals that you send to us. You're also going to be included on our customer appreciation event. And it's a great networking event where you're meeting a lot of people. So that's going to happen every year, once a year. And then you're also going to get the conveniences of one-stop shopping. So if you need a referral for a plumber or an electrician or whatever the case might be, or maybe a tax accountant, we have all those resources available. And I thank you for the opportunity today.